Here is the new part of the company built in the beginning of the 90s. And the architect is Aldo Rossi. Aldo Rossi was a very important architect, Italian architect. He's more known away than in Italy. And it was a gift. He was lunch in a restaurant in Torino, and I said to him that he was building here a new department, and he made a sketch on the napkins, and it was a gift of one of the most important architects. And he's very local because the brick are very Emilia-Romagna. Bologna is known as the Red City because it's built all with bricks, so when the sun goes down, the city becomes red. We start from the oldest part of the company, where the company starts, and we go to see the tintoria, the dyeing facility, and la maglieria, the knitting department. Okay? Hello. Let's go. Every machine is a different technology. In this facility, we can do with one dye 11 different colors. Play with the type of fabric, the temperature of the water, the acidity of the water, the type of coloring. In the industrial dye facility that we will visit tomorrow morning, the next production, with one dye we can do 6 different colors. So now all the machines are controlled by computer. 10 years ago it was not like this. So the machine remains the same, but we change the technology. And we can dye up to 5 atmosphere, and it's the only machine in the world that can dye polyester in this. It's the only machine existing in the world, because it was a prototype. So they do the prototype, they give to us to test. We say, for us it's okay, but nobody wants to buy it. So we are the only one. The problem is that, especially in the beginning, because then they know how to move, we put beautiful jackets inside, and we open up for 4 hours and we get a damage. Everything fused together, because I said so it's not an instant machine. So big companies, they cannot work with this type of technology because it's not 100% sure. And they need to be, we are more flexible, and we don't do huge quantity, and so we can manage we have a problem. But it's a very sophisticated technology. So you will see this 15 days in Munich, in the showroom. This is the new campionario next year. So you can see actually the pizza totally made. And they move. We have to move them because the color, if we don't move everything, and also moving the garment gives the opportunity to have the color on all the surface in a modo uniform. So what we have done here is 130 degrees centigrade, 8 atmosphere pressure. Here where we do the original formula is something that you can find also in the kitchen. So what is unbelievable to me, because I see my garment starting here, and then my company is able to produce 400,000 garments and deliver. And I don't know how to do. Thanks God there is good people working in the company. I stay in this area because I like this type of things. So, as I always say, we have all the colors of the world. We are not linked to the color palette of our provider. So we buy the fabric white, or as we say, pronto per tinta, ready to dye. So it's a very flexible way of doing the garment. And everyone of us can do his own color. So when the formula is correct, when when we work here, we still work on paper. When we find the right formula, we put a little technology inside. The little technology is on the other side and is a computer, is what is called a magic eye. You take the other company used this. They take a piece of fabric, they put it to the machine reads the color and give the formula. We understand that the formula is always wrong because the machine is stupid. The machine doesn't think about, for instance, the temperature and the humidity. If you do the same formula with a different humidity, the color will be different. And also the weather has an influence. And so we use on the reverse. We do the formula, then we put the fabric inside the machine. He gives us the formula that is slightly wrong, and we have only to do little correction. And even better is the brain in which we protect all the formula. So we have a double backup on paper and on the computer. The one on the computer we never use. We use the one on paper, because on paper there is also the small piece of fabric. And so it's easy, because you remember on the computer, it's not the same. We have a gentleman agreement. During the preparation of the prototypes, the people work for our prototypes, and then they will do the production. This is very helpful again, because they study all the prototypes, so when they have to do the production, for them it's really very, very easy. And this is even better, because if there is a big problem, 3 minutes we are here, and we solve the problem. This is not possible if you work in the Orient. If we have a yarn that is a new yarn, and we think a new knot, we can came here doing a telino like the one that I showed you before, but in neutral. Then we go there, we do the dyeing. So in, let's say, less than 2 hours, we can see how is the final result. A normal company, the time is around 2 months. So it's a pleasure for design people to work in this company, because the organization of the company is studied to support designer, is problem solving to designers, and this is fantastic. So here we are a little in between. When we do the prototype, we didn't know if the prototype will enter the collection. When we start the production, of course, yes. So here we are at the Cicuti. It's an interesting mix between handmade and computer. It's a human company, but we have, let's say, precise. So we have both hand and the computer. So Cicuti means the control of the quality control of fabrics. When I saw this service in other companies, usually this function belongs to production, because the normal company, they think that if they have quality problem, they have to solve the problem for the production. In my company, this sector belongs to the product. So they start working with the designer for the research. And they do all the implementation of the research. They talk with the provider and everything. When we finish our job, they also do the quality control of the fabric that enter the company for the production. Why? Because they know exactly what was expected by us, not by the production people. So they check that the fabric that enter the company for the production is exactly what expected by the designers. Here is very interesting to tell you something. With garment dyeing, one of the biggest problems is shrinkage, because we work at high temperature. Working in high temperature means two things, more than two, but two main things. One, we cannot use low quality fabric. With low quality fabric, we will cook them. Second, we cannot use low quality stitching. If we use low quality stitching, we'll melt during the problem of the shrinkage is very important. As I told you before, for the color, also the fabric has the same problem. In this day, you start the production of this, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, the temperature is 8 degrees, the humidity is, I don't know. Then you arrive at the half of the roll that is midday. Everything's changed. And you have arrived at the end of the roll at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, everything changed. Because everything changed, the color will enter the fiber in a different way. So every time that a roll enters the company for the production, we have to control. But we have to control the beginning, the half, and the end. Not only. And we do also a small dyeing to see the shrinkage. As you know, 1 centimeter change the sizing. And so we have an average shrinkage of 17%. All the fabric. So there are fabric, the shrinkage is very low, or fabric, or process. Do you remember the compact? 50%. So the shrinkage was unbelievable. So every time that a piece of fabric a roll of fabric enter the company, we have the control with the machine, and then we have also by hand. This is 27 of March, 2013, 13 of March, 22 of May, 2012, 21 of May. So every time, and so we can check also that the quality is consistent also in time. It doesn't change. They do exactly the same. Or if it's not exact, we have to understand how to manage. Because when we are in the production, perhaps we are a little late, enter rolls with a different shrinkage, what we have to do? We cannot send back. Too late. So we have to change the pattern maker. So, but the pattern making is inside the company. We will work during the night, but we remake the pattern and we cut this special roll. So it's quite complicated on one side. On the other side, it's fantastic because we order the fabric white. So, because we have the experience now with I don't know the mathematical formula, but our commercial people, after 10, 15 days, they already know more or less where we will arrive at the end of the order. And so we can place the order to the supplier in white. So we say, okay, we will do 1,000 meters. And we don't have to say the color, because for us it's not important. For them it's important because they keep the space of 1,000 meters ready for us. So on one hand it's very complicated, on the other hand it's very flexible and very fast, let's say. So in my opinion, it's a good system. It's a little expensive, but give us also the opportunity to have a different product. If you see a jacket 0020 blue, the blue that we do is, I don't know, the blue of the other people is more flat. The blue, and I don't know if, because they put the color on a flat material. Because we put the color on a three-dimensional material. It's already a jacket done, and the color is more deep, it's different. And when you see two jackets, one is more pressed, and the other one is, then I don't know if it's true, but this is what I see. So here we have the last 5 years. So again, you understand why we need a big historical archive. Because we have this of all the fabric that entered the company in the last 35 years. With all the specific cost, everything. So again, it's an unbelievable place in which we can go and take ideas. Because perhaps there are some fabrics that we have developed 20 years ago, or there are some fabrics that we have developed 6 years ago, we never used. And now is the right moment. When we talk with the provider, and 6 years ago we had a problem, and now we are able to solve the problem. You remember the jacket that we have done for the 30th anniversary, Tela Stella. The Tela Stella is a fantastic story in my opinion. Why? Because it's the same provider that made the Tela Stella 30 years ago. We cannot do the Tela Stella the same way like 30 years ago because it is a pollution problem. So we study with the same provider to do the same fabric because it's exactly the same fabric but with a different technology. So no pollution, nothing. And this is really something that you can do in this country because in this country we have all the chain. I have a very good provider in Japan, but it's not easy. This guy is close to Milano. First of all, he speaks Italian, better than Japanese, so. And then also the Japanese, they are very flexible, but they are on the other side of the world. And so, sometimes it's better to work with people around the company to solve the problem. Paola started working here 6 months ago. Paolo is 40 years that is working in this company. And the main part of the people that work in the company, you will see young and old. Experience. The only sector in which we have white hair is in what we call il cucito, the sewing department. Because Italian guys, young Italian guys, doesn't want to work. So this is terrible because the school for designers are full, and the school for technicians are empty. But how many Giorgio Armani can this country produce? And how much people is working for Giorgio Armani? So I always say we are close to the district of Carpi. Carpi is the knitwear district of Italy. Now high technology and everything. But the beginning of the operation starts, that is a person that with the finger make this on the machine and put the first knot into the machine. No robot, no computer, no way. We call them puntiniste. Now in Carpi, for a puntinista, they will pay 5,000 euro per month. So I always say also to my students, why not? And we cannot find, it's impossible. Impossible. Why? Because it's a blue collar work. And the Italian guys doesn't want to do low level. And then it's even better because it's a very quiet job. Because you have to do, it's a precision job. It's not boom, 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 like. So the problem in this country in the future is to find people that want to have dirty hands. And we see what will happen. Anyway, so this is another key part of the company, because the quality control on one side give us the opportunity to deliver high quality, on the other side gave me the opportunity not to do mistakes. So it's really a key. Is another part, because knitwear is a unique technology, and probably is the only one in the garment, in textile business, the only sector that still had a huge innovation in technology. So machines change quite often. So to me it's important to stay very clear on the new technology. So it's really a specific work. So all the knitwear of the company is here.
Yeah, Christian.
These are new printing, these are new yarn, new treatment. Because we have finished last week the next spring summer. and we are starting thinking at the next fall winter. So now we are thinking about down jacket, and with this temperature it's terrible, but this is actually, and I don't know why, but every year we have to work earlier. Unbelievable.
Keiner weiß warum, jeder beschwert sich.
Nobody knows. Everybody's complaining, but nobody's changing.
Now, I think it is also because we are losing a lot of know-how in this country. And so the timing become, because let's say the production capability of this company is made by the number of prototypes that we are able to produce. Because then the production is not inside. So the timing for the campionari is given by the company according with the production capability of prototypes. Because we can do also in 1 month, but then in 1 month we can only do, let's say, 10 prototypes. And so it's very dangerous. And so we have to start. And every season is, anyway, I think the steel is the most beautiful job in the world. So I enjoy. We will support the proper timing. This is the sewing department. Let's say that is a small, very, very small production, a factory, starting from the automatic cut for prototypes. This is state of the art. In Italy, this type of technology is owned by us and by Max Mara. And this is a special machine that works on the single piece. Gave us the opportunity of getting shorter the time of production of a prototype, 1 week. So we save 1 week, so we can produce more prototypes. It's totally automatic and change also the way of working of the pattern makers, because they don't work any longer on paper, but they work on the screen. Then, let's say we do 95% on the screen and 5% still in the old way, in order to give a flexibility to the people working. It's better because sometimes it's too long to move by screen. It's better to move the old way. So here we have the cutting. We cut prototype. Every sewing machine is a different technology. Now we are more or less empty because we are finishing in 15 days less. We present the collection, so it's really the end. And then there is the pressing. So it's small, you have everything. What is interesting is this lady, they follow the garment in all the construction. So they keep il tagliato, the cut, and then they build all the garment. Not with the prototypes, but when we start doing the serie di campionari, they do 16, and so they learn. If during the production the subcontractor has a problem, 95% of the time they solve the problem talking to him to the telephone. Try to do this way. Si. And it's very good. As you see, there is not young people, there is no people actually. It's not this finished. And then we have a small part of our historical archive. If you want to give, but it's not very. No, it's even better. Because we are in the moment in which we change the machine from the spring-summer sewing machine to the fall-winter sewing machine. Because of course, because they have to sew different fabrics, so the technology is different. What is interesting, in my opinion, is, for instance, this big fat machine is the thermo-stitching machine. The cost is around 70,000 euro. So our subcontractors, they don't own the machine. So what we do, if we have to do the production of a thermo-stitch garment, we send to him the garment already cut and the machine. And with the last garment, they give back the machine. So I don't have to change the provider because it doesn't have the technology. Because the quality is made by the hand of the people working in the factory. So I don't want to change the factory. So if they don't have the technology, we gave to them and they give back when it's finished the production. So let's say we work a lot always with the same provider. Also because, again, stitching, as I told you before, because of garment dyeing is really important. And so we are not usually looking for easy. It's a little more. Then, of course, we do also products that are easy. Sometimes polo that we do, they are not unbelievable. Then we do an interesting treatment, so we do something special. But to build the polo is. So it's a mix. And let's say the most sophisticated garment is important to stitch in the right way, with the right technology, with the right yarn. Because if we do a garment in cotton and then they do the stitching in polyester and you cannot see when it's white, you see once you dye. And then what you do is already done. So every subcontractor that we have cannot start the production chain if a gentleman from sponsor company is not there to press the button. So my people, my quality people will control everything and then they say go. Also because I saw sometimes, I'm not joking, 200 or 300 pieces, because when the production change starts, you cannot stop. And so I see 200, 300 pieces with the wrong stitching. And, you know. So this is a small part of the historical archive that now is here because we had the problem. It's a small part because the other part, big part is in Verona, near Verona, because there is a huge space in which, a huge lager. This is the product department. So Stone Island, Stone Junior and Shadow are the different areas here. What have we seen right now are still prototypes. We didn't know yet if they will enter next collection. So we saw more or less 80% of the company. So I must say that 80% of the company is working on prototypes. The prototype means research and development. Then we start the industrial part. The industrial part, let's say, start from here. So here we are on pattern maker and sizing. If we found the garment here, means the garment entering the collection. And if we see a garment here, means that we will produce this garment. Why? Because all the prototypes till now we produce on one size. Here we start doing all the sizing. Sizing is one of the most expensive and long operation because it's very complicated. And for us it's even worse because of the shrinkage. So we work with, we are, let's say, state-of-the-art on technology because we developed our system with Lectra. Lectra is #1 in the world for this type of technology, and they help us to develop the system for garment dyeing. Because there are not so many companies, especially 10 years ago, doing garment dyeing at the level we do. And the big company, I do Italian names, but Zegna or Hugo Boss, it's more, let's say, classical type of production. And so all the system, they start for classical production. And sportswear, first of all, the company that makes sportswear are less structured normally. And they don't use this type of technology. We use the technology because I like it. And then again, we use the technology in a different way. Meaning, the technology is helping the brain of my people. but it's the capability of my people. They use the machine and they are not used by the machine. That, in my opinion, is very important. You will see this even more on the placement, because we do all the pattern maker and the size development is made in home. Because let's say it's a small secret in some way. But we do inside the company also the placement for the cutting room. Why? Because to optimize the consumption of fabric, you have to cut two sizes together. Because if we don't do inside, the cutting people, after a couple of months, they can rebuild our sizing system. So we don't give to them the sizing system, but we give to them the already print piece of paper that they destroy when they cut. And so nobody can say copy, but it's not the problem of copy, it's a problem of manage a very complicated shrinkage. And let's say that is a small competitive advantage that we want to protect. So here, this is, if you want, the first step of production. And these are all the elements that make a garment. The red is one size and the white is the other size. Okay? Sorry. What we do again, when I said that we use the machine and we are not used by the machine, in the evening we gave the order to the machine and the machine started working. Because there are millions of possible combinations. So the machine worked all the night long, and in the morning gave to the gentleman the three best. And because it's better than the machine, but he has to work only on three. Yeah. So the machine work and make a huge work, and we do only the last part to get the best result. Again, when I started working many years ago, more or less 30, I was working for GFT. GFT was one of the biggest company in the garment industry, and we had a big fabbrica. Come si dice fabbrica? Fabrik in tedesco, fabrik.
They understand all.
And we have a big, eine große Fabrik. I speak very good German. Beer from Fas, Stadtmitte. To do this type of job, there were 150 people. Now a machine can make faster and with less mistake. And already the 150 was high technology, because it was a technology arriving from the US that used, you know, the Polaroid system, because there was a special Polaroid machine that was able to read the space that was empty. So already unbelievable. Now, and this is effective to me because I remember very well the old, and now I can appreciate really the new technology, because change really the everything. So once that the machine and the guy understand that we obtain the best result, the consumption, well, when we cut the prototype, we don't care about consumption. What is important when we build the prototype? Fast. But when we start the production, this machine, this technology that is very, very expensive, we paid in 18 months only with the saving of money on fabric consumption. So it's unbelievable, really unbelievable. Once that is ready, he gave to the machine a printing machine, and the machine print a piece of paper that actually goes on the fabric when we started production. And so, and nothing go out from the company. Everything is still here, in some way protected. Okay. Every time I make a tour with my student, I ask where we are here, which is this department. This department is production. So, as I told you, you see a lot of places. As I told you, any chain can start if a gentleman from a sports or a company is not there to check. And so all the people is around, making quality control. As I said to you before, we don't like to change the subcontractors. So there is people that is working more than 25 years with this company. And let's say, we are bigger than them. And so we do for them also the planning of production. Because sometimes they are small, individually, family-owned, small, and they have no organization. And so we do the planning, the production planning for them. That is very helpful because first of all, because we do the product planning, the first garment are ours. And second, we can check every day in which position are our garment. So it's also, let's say, a safety for delivery and all this type of things. That in the last years, I must say that we improved quite in an important way. We are doing better than 5 years ago for sure. And we still work to try to get better. So the production, this is again flexibility. I always say there is only one designer, now two, one made in Italy that owns his own production capability, and was Missoni. And if you look at the product of Missoni, is always, let's say, more or less the same. Why? Because it's closed by the technology. They have a huge factory that they have to fulfill. And so they cannot change technology. For us, we don't have the production inside. And so if we want to do something new or different, we travel the world, we find, if it doesn't exist, we can find around the world. And this, again, give a huge flexibility to the creativity of the designer, because we are not closed by a sewing technology. That is really an advantage for I think for the product, for us and also for the collection. Passa. Vai. Ok? Abbiamo finito? Sì. Allora, let's go. Now I need to smoke a cigarette. I want to show that this is the design team of Stone Island. A mix of experience. So he's the big boss of all the area. As you can see, there is a lot of people working on the product, and I think that you can see when you see our collection that are not exactly small. And it's the work of all of us, hard work. There is people from Italy, people from England, people again from Italy, from Belgium, and from Austria. So, and I think it is important in this day to have different point of view. Different point of different point of view is important because we have to deal on different market with different customer, and so I think that more culture you have working on the product, the best product, the most international product you can achieve. And so this is the idea. It's not easy to work all together, but we survive, we don't kill each other, and let's say that is a good. Thank you. We don't do super things. We do step by step, our size, and I think that really, season after season, we try to do our best. not being too, we are a normal family-owned company, but we are growing, and we are growing also in Italy, despite of the general situation. So meaning that we are keeping place to other brands, as simple as that, taking place to other brands, because the market is not booming. Exactly the opposite. But again, what I understand is that young people like to listen story. Someone yesterday evening said to me, I don't sell garment, I am a storyteller. And I think that this is one of the secrets. We are storytellers. Because thanks God we have story to tell. And as you see, they are true. It's not a marketing tool. It's the reality. The passion that you saw in my company, in the people working, is real. And it's the same that we have. And everyone that arrive and touch the company is involved in this special, because there is really something special in this company, in this brand. We are not a normal. Now I tell to you a sad story. But last week I get an email from a customer, a final customer from Great Britain. And he said to me that his close friend, 33 years old, he was dead by a cancer. And this guy that is dead was a fan of Stone Island. And so I wrote a letter to his wife. We sent flower. And the family make a foundation, and Stone Island make an offer to the foundation without saying anything to anyone. But there's not many brands that make a letter and send flowers. And I think that this is the special thing of my company. And another thing, when we do the presentation of the book in London, I get a fantastic email. My name is John, I work with Paul. I don't know why Paul is crazy about Stone Island. I don't know why, but Paul is crazy. And when you do the presentation of the book in London, Paul will be in the shop. And this is his birthday. Can you do something special?
Because he talks to Stone Island.
He talks Stone Island.
Years and years, and I don't understand why, but this is it.
And he helped me a lot on the work, and so I would like to do a special gift to my friend. And so I prepare a piece of reflective fabric, and I make the signature of the book. So at a certain point I had Paul, and I said, Paul, you work with John? Yes. Oh, so happy birthday. And I make it on the fabric, a special with my signature and everything.
He was very
It's
happy.
fantastic. This is a customer that will be loyal forever. Because there is something special, but between this, I think, is also because of the size of the company and probably the way that I feel doing my job. Because it's the best job in the world. It's fantastic.